You've been taught to be respectful to ask, to wait for a sign, to make sure she's comfortable. And while the intention is noble, the effect is devastating, because women don't surrender to the man who asks for intimacy. They surrender to the man who creates it. She doesn't want to be convinced. She wants to be led. She wants a man whose presence feels like a gravity, not pressure, not begging, just inevitability. And once you understand this, you'll never have to ask her for anything again, but she offers it all willingly, breathlessly, desperately. This isn't a tactic, it's a psychological awakening. And you're about to feel what real power tastes like. Have you ever noticed that the deepest connections, the ones that move us, don't begin with a request? They begin with presence, with energy, with an unspoken understanding that something real is unfolding, not because anyone asked for it, but because it was felt. You see, true connection, real intimacy, isn't something you demand. It's something you awaken. The moment you start asking for it, the energy shifts. It's not about whether the desire is valid. Desire is human. It's beautiful, but when that desire becomes a need for approval, the dynamic changes. Suddenly, instead of leading with presence, you're chasing validation. And whether consciously or not, people feel that. They feel when your confidence turns into a request, and that request often triggers a quiet internal no, even if their heart was leaning toward a yes. So what's the alternative? It's not manipulation. It's not pretending. It's emotional leadership. It's about creating a space where the other person can soften, where walls begin to drop, not because you pushed, but because they felt safe enough to fall. And this is the truth that rarely gets spoken. You don't build connection with just words, you build it with energy, with how you carry yourself, with the space between you and them. You build it through quiet certainty, no pressure, through clarity, no control. Want to connect on a deeper level? Don't start with your hands, start with your attention. Start with how you listen, how you observe, how you respect their pace and their silence. Create a space that doesn't demand but invites, where every moment speaks not "I need this," but "I see you and I trust what's unfolding," because people don't respond to pressure. They respond to presence, to intention, to being moved, not managed. The ones who truly connect know this. They don't beg for closeness, they embody it. They don't say, "Can I touch you?" They say, with their energy, "You're safe here," not with force, but with grounded calm, not with chase, but with centered stillness. Every glance, every tone, every move becomes an invitation not to rush, but to align. To ask, not do. You want this, but is this us? And when that alignment is real, everything flows naturally. Nothing has to be forced. This is the deeper psychology of connection, of attraction, of intimacy. You don't speak it first with your mouth, you speak it with how you show up. And when you're grounded in your own energy, there maybe often turns into curiosity. Curiosity becomes interest. And interest, when nurtured with respect, becomes connection. So remember this, the most powerful question isn't always spoken, it's felt. And when you stop seeking permission and start offering presence, you create something far more magnetic than pressure. You create trust, and trust is where real intimacy begins. You're no longer the man who waits for her to say yes. You're the man who embodies yes effortlessly. That's the difference. That's what changes the entire dynamic, because now, it's not about convincing. It's not about hoping. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't seek approval, he inspires surrender. And here's what most never understand. The most powerful form of attraction doesn't come from pressure. It comes from permission. It's not manipulation. It's emotional awareness. It's about creating such a deep sense of safety, tension, and presence that she feels like every move toward you is her own idea. That's not a game. That's stoic seduction. It never begs, and it never breaks. It doesn't push, it invites. Because when it feels like her idea, there's no resistance, no guilt, no second guessing, only flow. That's when intimacy becomes natural. That's when desire feels like freedom. And freedom is the doorway to her deepest, most honest self. That's what you're unlocking, not her body, her truth. But here's the problem. Most men try to talk their way into connection. They compliment, they flatter, they escalate with permission-seeking language. "Can I kiss you? Do you want to go back to my place? Do you like this?" And instantly she's pulled out of emotion and into logic, into analysis, into deciding. But that's not where connection lives. Intimacy doesn't happen through logic. It happens when her emotions take over. When she feels herself leaning in without knowing why. When your presence makes her forget the world. When your silence speaks louder than words and draws her into the space you hold. The man who understands this leads with energy, not requests. He creates a moment that's so charged, so calm, so intentional, that she doesn't feel like she's being led, she feels like she's choosing. And that illusion of choice, when rooted in truth and respect, is the most powerful emotional experience you can offer. Because now, she's not being convinced. She's not being guided. She's awakening. Her desire is rising without permission, without prompting, and it feels like hers, not yours. That's when she lets go. Not because she was asked to, but because she wanted to. The man who truly gets this doesn't just touch her skin, he touches her ego. He makes her feel seen in ways she's never verbalized. He notices the shift in her breath. He pays attention to the nervous laugh. He hears what her silence is saying. And instead of reacting, he responds. He says things like, "I like the way you look when you're trying not to show something." Now, her thoughts start spinning. She's wondering, what did he see in me? What part of me did I accidentally expose? And in that moment, you flip the script. Because you didn't chase, you didn't ask. You led with subtlety, with confidence, with a level of grounded emotional presence that makes her feel like she's stepping into her own power by stepping toward you. That's why it works. That's why it stays with her. Because when she feels like she initiated, when she feels like she lost control, even for a moment, that memory stays. It replays in her mind again and again. Because it felt real. It felt rare, and what's rare becomes unforgettable. This is what most never realize. The real connection happens before the first touch. It's in the space between words. It's in the energy you hold. It's in the way you make her feel without needing anything in return. That's when she leans in. Not because she was asked, but because the moment invited her to, and she said yes without saying a word. Imagine feeling two things at once. Empowered and overwhelmed, in control and craving more. That's the sweet spot where connection deepens. So how do you deliver this energy? You slow down your speech. You speak with unfinished thoughts, and you don't answer every question. You create curiosity gaps. You let the silence hum between you like electricity. Instead of saying, "Come over," you say, "I was going to spend tonight alone, unless that changes." Instead of "I want," you say, "You're distracting as hell." You leave breadcrumbs, and she follows not because she has to, but because she needs to know where they lead. This is why the most intimate moments are born from emotional suggestion, not verbal permission. If she's unsure, she waits. If she's intrigued, she acts. The goal isn't to make her say yes. The goal is to make her feel like not saying yes would haunt her. That's what stays with her. That's what drives her wild. You gave her the fantasy of freedom and the illusion of control, and she gave you her body like it was the most natural decision in the world. That's not manipulation. That's psychological seduction at the highest level. And the men who understand this never have to ask. They just create the moment and let her cross the line. When you lead the moment, she gives you everything. There's a reason she didn't respond to your compliment. A reason she changed the subject when you hinted at taking it further. It's not because she didn't want it. It's because you made her lead the moment and she didn't feel safe doing it. Understand this. A woman only opens when she feels like you're already holding the frame. If she senses hesitation, doubt, or overanalysis, her body shuts down. Because instinctively she knows this man wants me, but he doesn't know how to lead me. And if you can't lead her emotionally, she'll never trust you with her body. Here's what most men don't realize. Women aren't waiting for permission to surrender. They're waiting for a man who knows how to hold that surrender once it's given. The man who speaks slowly, moves with intention, controls the tempo of the moment like a conductor with a symphony. He doesn't need her to make a move. He sets the tone so clearly that her only decision is to follow. Not because he forced her, but because he made it safe to let go. And safety doesn't mean softness, it means certainty. He's not thinking, "Should I kiss her?" He's reading her, feeling the current. And when it's there, he doesn't ask. He moves calmly, slowly, with presence, and lets her reaction tell him everything. Because a woman doesn't need you to ask if she's ready. She needs to feel that you are when you lead the moment. She gets to relax. She gets to turn her brain off, to stop calculating, to stop protecting, to stop performing. That's when her femininity takes over. That's when she gets wet without understanding why. That's when she starts reaching for you because your energy said, "I've got this." And here's the truth. Most women have never truly experienced that a man fully grounded, fully present, fully unmoved by outcome. They're used to men who rush, who apologize for wanting, who act bold until she pulls away. Then suddenly he turns to a boy again, insecure, shaky, trying to earn it. But the man who masters this energy doesn't chase. He commands. He leads. And that is magnetic.